Happy Thursday. Landon Hampton here with you this morning, bringing you the Whether or Not Bowling Green video update. Going to be looking at those extremely warm temperatures sticking around throughout this next to final day of the work week. Might see a smidge of an isolated shower or two, but the vast majority of us will remain dry. However, focus continues to be on Friday with a very stout system moving across the Ohio Valley. That'll be bringing a vigorous cold front across our neck of the woods, which could result in the possibility of some strong and severe thunderstorms. But before we jump into all that, we got to take a look at those current conditions overlooking WKU, courtesy of the White Squirrel Weather Cam. We got some cloud cover out there early this morning, very warm as well. We are at 57 degrees, definitely going to be a mild start. And as we progress throughout the day, it's going to be another one for shorts and a t-shirt. Looking across the Kentucky Mesonet network, looking at those temperature readings, we're located between the low and mid 50s across the entirety of our immediate viewing area. Warren, Butler, Logan, Simpson, Allen, and Barron County all sitting right there in the low to mid 50s. I'm pretty sure you all over in Edmonson County sitting at that same value as well. Taking a look at those winds, they're rather light out of the south, but those southerly winds will continue throughout the day. That is going to result in those very, very warm temperatures. Might be hitting a record high this afternoon, set back in 1982, but we might flirt with it, but I don't think we'll break it. Our old record's 79. I think we'll hang out there in the mid-70s. Looking at the surface setup, we have this cold front extending from the Great Lakes south and west to the mid-Mississippi River Valley back across the Central Plains. We have a very stout low pressure system that's getting its act together. That's going to transition this cold front into a warm front. That's going to be lifting to our north. That is what is going to result in much warmer temperatures here across the lower Ohio Valley. But we can take here at the current surface setup, take a look at how things are going to play out over the next few days. And you can tell we have that stout area of low pressure getting its act together there across the Central Plains. This is going to be ejecting north and east, and as it does so, a trailing cold front is going to plow eastward across our vicinity. That is what is going to be attempting to bring us the possibility of strong and severe storms. So as we work into early Friday morning at 6 a.m., that looks to be over northern Missouri. Then as we work into our Friday afternoon, moving up towards the Great Lakes, and it's looking like the opportunity for the strongest storms will arrive during the late afternoon throughout the early evening. Is kind of the time frame that we've nailed down there. Sometime between 4 p.m. up until around 10 or 11 p.m. at night. And then that area of low pressure works off to our north and east. Then we have a strong area of high pressure that's going to build in behind that cold front. Stout northwesterly winds taking over as we get into our Saturday. And yes, that is going to result in much colder temperatures out there. But the very stout winds before that cold front moves through on Friday will result in Friday afternoon highs flirting with that 80-degree mark. Here's a look at the upper levels of the atmosphere. We're looking at the 500 millibar level. This is roughly 18,000 feet above our head. You can see across the Central Plains this trough digging down. That is in response to that surface low and that system that's going to be plowing to the north and east over the Great Lakes. And as that does so, you can see the much colder air working in here from our north and west. As we get into our Friday afternoon and evening, here's the upper level low. The surface low will be extended just east of there. But as that pulls on to the north and east, that cold front crashes to our south and east, and then much colder air will be filtering in behind it for our Saturday. You can see that put into motion. Trough digs down here as we get into the first day of our weekend, hangs around as we get into our Sunday as well. But by Monday, we see a return of much warmer temperatures. That's also going to be bringing a return of rain chances as well. Looking at the 4-kilometer NAM, this is a simulated radar to kind of get an idea of how things are going to behave. This is not exact. I would like to repeat that. This is not exactly how things are going to play out, but a rough idea. Once that warm front lifts north of us today, you can see the scattered shower activity, maybe an isolated shower for us, but it looks to stay confined to the northern tier of Kentucky, southern Indiana, and Illinois. Then the warm front lifts north, taking the precip along with it. Then as we work into our Friday, surface low pressure over Missouri pushing into the Great Lakes. And then we can see the southward extent of this line of widespread showers, possibility of strong storms trying to extend southward as this cold front plows to our east. And as it does so, you can see these clusters of showers and storms moving through, again, sometime between 3 or 4 p.m. on Friday afternoon through, say, 10 or 11 p.m. on Friday night is whenever we're looking at the highest threat of strong and severe weather to roll through here. And then as we get into our Saturday, it's blatantly obvious. Cold air advection, the isobars crossing the isotherms, very stout northwest winds is going to be resulting in much colder temperatures as we work into our Saturday. But getting back to Friday afternoon and evening, here's the latest severe weather outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. And again, they've extended that enhanced risk southward by a large chunk to engulf much of northern Kentucky, including Louisville and Frankfort and Covington. The best possibility of severe weather looks to remain to our north. However, all of south central Kentucky remains in that slight risk, with damaging winds the main threat. Might see an isolated instance of some large hail. Can't completely rule out an isolated tornado spin up, but that is not looking likely at this time. So again, severe wind gusts will be our main threat. Those winds will be at or exceeding 58 miles an hour. But here's a look at the rainfall over the next 7 days. After we get past that active pattern on Friday, we're going to stay calm throughout our Saturday and Sunday, but Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week is going to be bringing rounds of showers and maybe some more thunderstorms. So a look over the next 7 days, we're looking at anywhere between 1.5 to 2.5 inches of the wet stuff for us here across south central Kentucky. Here's a look at the next 5 days, brought to you by Cheetah Clean Auto Wash. We're going to be looking at partly cloudy skies throughout today, maybe an isolated sprinkle or two, with afternoon highs in the mid-70s. Then overnight, we're going to stay very mild with cloud cover increasing. Overnight lows between the upper 50s and lower 60s. Very, very windy, partly cloudy throughout the early part of our Friday. Winds out of the south between 25 and 35 miles an hour. Some gusts may even reach 40 miles an hour, sending highs to the upper 70s. I think a few of us may make a legitimate run at the lower 80s, with especially if we're able to get a few breaks of sunshine in here. Then as the storms move out of here late Friday night, much colder Saturday, highs suppressed to the 40s. Overnight lows Saturday night into the mid-20s. We'll rebound back into the lower 50s on Sunday underneath rays of sunshine before rain chances accompany that warming trend for the first day of next week. That's going to wrap up your Thursday morning edition of the Weather or Not Bowling Green video blog. If you got any questions about that forecast, feel free to leave them in the comments. But remember, our focus remains on late Friday afternoon into Friday evening for that possibility of severe weather. You all stay safe and remember to dress to combat that winter-like heat out there on this very unseasonably warm Thursday.